Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. Brad Garlinghouse on Jay Clayton, Stuart Alderoty on the SEC and fighting the case, and the Biden executive order that could cause crypto chaos. We're going to take a look at it. Uphold and Ripple, the growth of the XRP ledger, you won't believe it. And one technical analyst says we're T-minus 16 days away until XRP liftoff. We're going to look at it all. But somebody's got to roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, it's $1.31 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.4%. Good morning, everyone. 34,300 plus for Bitcoin right now. Ethereum 1792 and change, and we see Tether market cap 84.6 billion plus. 55 cents for XRP. We're up 1.6 on the 24-hour, 7.5 up on the 7-day. Let's look at the range of price very quickly between 54 and 56 cents. We know we're coming to close out the month of October right now. And we know that the technical analysts have said we got to stay up in this range right here as we close the month out to get really bullish for XRP to make its next move in the 80 to $1 plus range. I want to see it. You want to see it. We all want to see it. But we got to pay very close attention to these numbers here to make sure we close above to remain bullish. And until we do, check this out. Miles Franklin. And all you need to do to get the best prices is email them info@milesfranklin.com. In the subject box, put dig gold, D-I-G gold. That's right. And you're going to get the best prices in the world if you just tell them that I sent you. Tell them I said, come on in. Click the link underneath the video to get the email and make sure you contact them today for the best prices. And become your own bank, ladies and gentlemen, with Glint Pay. Buy, save, send, and spend real gold instantly with Glint and your MasterCard debit card. That's how easy it is. What a remarkable opportunity. And I tell you, I don't say this to be an alarmist, with so many threats of cyber attacks and what we've seen already around the country, I am absolutely tickled to death that I have got this set up for myself in case something happens to the banking system itself, knowing that there's been threats by other nations around the world to do that to U.S. Banking system, basically, and essentially Russia's made that a threat back in the early days of the Ukraine conflict. So I have never forgotten it. It always has had me concerned, and this is one of the ways that I can be my own bank. Click the link for both of those underneath the video. Here we see it, ladies and gentlemen. Just in, Elon Musk plans to turn X platform into a full-on finance platform within a year. Says you won't need a bank account anymore. I covered this yesterday, but I asked the question today. Hey, Elon Musk, what happens when your account gets suspended for doing nothing wrong? Is your money frozen too? Case in point. Hashtag free DAI has been suspended for no reason whatsoever, and you expect all of us to use X for payments. Something has to give. These are very real questions. And hashtag free DAI. And here's some very real comments here from Ripple's Stuart Alderoty, Chief Legal Officer, shared his 2.5 years of dreadful experience fighting the case and exposes the bad actors. Take a listen to this. This is so candid and so real. You're going to want every single bit of this. And shout out to Stuart and David Schwartz for this clip.
It's been 2.5 years. Were there some moments where you kind of felt really frustrated? Were there moments where you felt like we were making progress?
It was a hard journey. It was an extremely frustrating journey. The government does not play fair, which is unfortunate. As a lawyer, you would expect more, and as an American citizen, quite frankly, you would expect more. Mm-hmm. But the government, this government at least, and this SEC, the process is the punishment. And they make it as painful and as long and as expensive and as punitive as they possibly can. So that's frustrating. I mean, just to put it in perspective, you go back to that Howey case from 1946. From the time the Howey case was just filed at the trial court to the time it was decided in the Supreme Court, I think it was only 18 months. So it went through the trial court, it went through the appellate court, it went through the Supreme Court. Howie in the Hills and the SEC, they just stipulated to what the facts were, and they put it in front of the judge and said, what's a ruling? Here, the SEC has no interest in sort of getting to a ruling. What they want to do is punish a litigant, and certainly punish a litigant who decides to fight the government. So it was extremely frustrating. The SEC was not taking consistent positions with the court. The court at one point even found that the SEC was acting in a hypocritical fashion and simply staking out positions to advance litigation as a litigation tactic rather than following a faithful allegiance to the law. That's frustrating, whether litigating against a bottom-feeding plaintiff lawyer. It's certainly frustrating when the government is behaving that way. When I started to have some hope, some glimmer of hope in all of this, is we were in front of a court and a judge that started to see through what the SEC was doing and started to push back on the SEC and started to curtail a lot of what the SEC was trying to do and give us a lot of what we were asking for. So again, you never know whether you're going to win or lose a case until the outcome, but we were winning a lot of the battles along the way, discovery battles and whatnot, that certainly indicated to me that the SEC's lack of credibility with the court was being exposed. And as a litigator and doing this for as long as I have, judges care about credibility. When you put something in a brief or you stand up in front of a court and you're making an argument, the judge has to believe what you're saying. She can certainly go in and verify the cases and what you're citing, and their law clerks can do the research, but are you being candid with the court? What you're telling the court, does it have a solid grounding in the facts and the law? We were very consistent all throughout the case, and I cannot say the same for the SEC. And I think at the end of the day that the SEC suffered.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And I just appreciate those straightforward, candid remarks about what the fight has really been like from the inside and just how despicable the actions of the SEC really are. And you could sense that frustration here. We played this clip, and I'll play it very quickly, of Jay Clayton, who in fact was the one who dropped the case like a coward on his last day in office. And believe me, that is the actions of a coward. I've seen it a million times. And then he sits there to say this in front of the world. Take a listen.
Let's take this to a very high level on the regulatory side. What you're hearing from the leaders of the regulatory organizations is, if we're not losing cases, if we're not being pushed back on by the courts, we're not doing enough. Think about that for a second. That is a fundamental shift in how we as Americans view the role of the government.
But yet this is the guy who dropped a case that's been a losing case and left office like a spineless coward. Brad Garlinghouse even reacts here and says, watching this clip makes my blood boil. The hypocrisy is shocking. CNBC, Squawk and CNBC should be calling him out for the bullshit. As a reminder, Jay Clayton brought the case against Ripple, me and Chris Larson, and left the building the next day. And yet he's calling out the abuse of power? And then this guy goes on to work for entities that benefit from his own actions? Oh. The amount of restraint that Brad Garlinghouse is showing here has to make Stuart Alderoty very pleased with his CEO. It also demonstrates that John Deaton says he would lack the temperament required to lead a top financial company in today's world, and it is absolutely understandable. No question about it. He does highlight here, you have to remember, Clayton, Hinman, and Mark Berger were the driving forces behind filing the case against Ripple. Clayton was clearly the one who pushed to sue Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, as he is on video with Joe Grunfest saying that even in non-fraud cases, he likes to go after the individuals, right? This is what we know, right? He likes to go after the executive and change the dynamics of the lawsuit. It's a bullying, intimidation tactic. Grunfest, however, warns against engaging in such tactics because it raises the burden on the government. As thank goodness for that, honestly, right? Then there's more. Oh, it's crypto under siege here. Possibly. President Biden coming executive order could trigger XRP and other cryptocurrency price chaos. Let's get right to the original article here from Forbes. And basically what they're saying here is that the order is expected to require artificial intelligence models to be assessed before they can be used by federal workers. Hang with me, we're going to get there. And help ease barriers for highly skilled workers seeking to move the U.S. to work in the field. However, early reports of the order last month set alarm bells ringing in the world of crypto due to fears it could classify computing power as a national resource. Here we go. Here we go. They're looking for a choke point. Requiring cloud computing providers such as Microsoft, Google, and Amazon to disclose when a customer purchases computing resources beyond a certain threshold. Here we go. Including for things like mining Bitcoin, developing video games, and running AI models. Proof of stake has just been put on notice if this is accurate, ladies and gentlemen. Write it down. This is absolutely a move to catch it at a bottleneck choke point area where they can control who gets how much. That's what we're watching. Alexander Grieve, head of government affairs at Bitcoin and crypto-focused investment company Paradigm, said last month such an order could be seen as Operation Choke Point. There you have it. But for computing power instead, speculating that Bitcoin mining could be considered robbing families of power and working in crypto would take development talent away from real applications. Bitcoin network, which requires so-called miners to validate transactions in return for freshly created Bitcoin using high-powered computers, is thought to use more electricity annually than some small countries following China's 2021 Bitcoin mining ban. The U.S. has become home to more Bitcoin miners than any other country. And China moved its largest Bitcoin miner over to the United States, BitDeer. Shout out to Jimmy Valley for that one. Let me tell you something. And you know what they do? They don't mine the Bitcoin and then keep it hoping that it'll go to 100,000 or $1 million. The Bitcoin that they mine is sold every night. That's how much they believe it'll go up the next day. They sell it every night. Think of it. If you believed that there was a long-term value in Bitcoin and you're the largest Bitcoin miner, wouldn't you at least hold a percentage of what you mine for a long-term gain? Wouldn't you? And when you sell overnight like this, doesn't it look more to you and I like a money laundering operation? That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? But meanwhile, while all of that's going on, this is the focus of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, Monica Long, and so many others inside of Ripple's camp, is to stay above it all, right? Regardless of being, targeted, right? Uphold to buy XRP on open market, promises not to use customer funds on on-demand liquidity, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd love it, just like Mark Phillips says. Remember, they've announced publicly that they're going to do an Uphold vault for their customers, and XRP holders will be the first, I believe, to be able to test this out once it is ready. Imagine someday in the future, and I don't know, but I have no idea. I can wishful think the way Mark is here. He says, I'd love it if Uphold offered customers the option to have their XRP used in ODL. I would too, and I would love that as a service once I'm in that vault, once it's up and running. How about that? That would be pretty badass too, right? I mean, look, a fella can dream. right? We'll see. But here's what we do know is that Uphold from the beginning is basically a prime broker. They're not an exchange. They plug into 30 plus exchanges to make markets for their customers, albeit, institutions or albeit a retail investor, right? And that's the beauty of them. They've had the proper structure to their company from day one. It looks like the traditional market infrastructure. Prime broker, plugs into exchanges, makes the best market, and has separate custody. There you have it. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen, the right way. And by the way, early seed investor to Uphold, Greg Kidd, formerly from the Federal Reserve, and Ripple. How about that? Can't make it up, right? It's funny, Let's take a look at this. This here from Silk Jar, and forgive me if I've just messed this up, but this is a great illustration. XRP Drops put some music to it, but I am afraid that the music will be copyright issue. I don't want to take the chance, so I do this. Starting in 2013, it starts showing the network effects of the ledger itself. This is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, as we move through time. Look at this. Absolutely remarkable watching these moments take place here. And shout out to Thomas for putting this original thing together, and XRP Drops for bringing it back to our attention. You can see all of these things happening here. All these different companies jumping up and plugging into the ledger. Ripple China. Did you see that one? Back in 2015. Yeah, I'd like to know what's going on with that these days, right? That would be nice to know, right? But you can see all of these developments taking place. Changely there, Shapeshift, right? You're going to see Uphold in a second pop up here. It's just remarkable. Look at the density starting to build. CoinCheck, Bitstamp, 2017, right? Look at the intensity building there. Look at this. BitHum, BTC Markets, CoinEx, Cryptonator, Binance, Huobi. I mean, look at all of this. Upbit, Bitpanda, CoinCheck, you name it. It's all right there. What a remarkable illustration of what the XRP ledger looks like in action. Absolutely beautiful. What a remarkable illustration. And this is where the world is going, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Silk Jar for that. That is absolutely incredible. Now let's take a quick look at this, which is XRP blast off in T-minus 16 days here. And the range that he's looking at, and shout out to Will, Crypto Insight UK here, is between 88 cents to $1.30 plus in this range is the target that he's looking for over the next 16-day countdown. Now, not many technical analysts do this, so this is really, really important to pay attention to this. If he's feeling this confident, we should all pay very close attention, because so is Eggrag Crypto here, also pointing to some effects here. Please refer to his post from June 8, 2023. This is basically showing you the reason he's not just recycling this for no reason. He's recycling this so you can see that the chart was accurate back in June, and it's even more relevant today. That's why he's bringing it back. Look at what we talked about in June. This is really speaking to us even louder today. So that's how we understand the information. So grateful for all of these gentlemen, and Dark Defender as well. Mini pump, you can see the cross that happened there, right? You can see the big cross that happened right through here, 2017, 2018. What a remarkable time that was. And then zooming in right here, we are close to a cross again, ladies and gentlemen. And if we get it, history says we're going to get some kind of a pump. And as this goes, maybe it's $1 plus, maybe it's 88 cents, maybe it's more. I don't know the answer, but what I do know is we should all be watching very closely. And before we get out of here, we have a surprise for you, and I hope you'll join us in the Freedom Zone this week, because I tell you, take a listen to this. Welcome back to the Freedom Zone. Remember, you can hit the button here and join us, and it's just maybe the cost of a cup of coffee per month, ladies and gentlemen. 0 Google ads of all our content that we put on YouTube every day. as well as extra content that we wouldn't dare touch on social media, knowing full well that free speech is under fire, ladies and gentlemen. And we hope that you join us inside. And when you do, you're going to get a lot of content, just like this yesterday here, why oil went negative for the first time in history and what it has to do with BRICS. And I believe the XRP ledger in the US dollar, you're going to want every single bit of it. Now, we're going to get in today and we're going to talk about this. It is digital asset investor and myself will be doing a don't miss exclusive live stream this week to help fight censorship. We're asking that all of you join our freedom zone and his danger zone in order to stay connected, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to have a great conversation, and I can't wait for us to have that conversation so we can bring all of us together in ways that we've never thought before. We're going to turn this thing into something positive, that much I guarantee you, so don't miss that. Now it's time for all of us to head into the Freedom Zone, where today we're going to discuss ETHgate and what's going on there, and there's so much more than we ever realized. Let's get started. There you have it. We'll see you in the Freedom Zone. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.